Hello everybody, this is Mr. Cloud, and this is a real fast video check-in to talk about where we are with Civics Economics, and also talking about what is upcoming. All right, so I'm going to switch over and we'll look at this Word file here. First of all, so far students have learned lesson 2A. 2A focused on the basic American principles. Students should be familiar with the principle of limited government. The idea that we put limits on our government's power. Students should be familiar with the concept of consent of the governed, which is the idea that the governed, the people, give their permission for the government to have its power, and the people could theoretically take away that permission. Students should be familiar with the concept of democracy, which is the idea that the people have the power and they use that power to vote to make decisions. Another big concept is Republican governments, or as your SOLs put it, representative government. This is also a republic. When you have a republic, you have a representative government. In this situation, which we have, the people elect their leaders to make the important decisions for them, to kind of run public policy and the big government decisions. And the final of the concepts students should be masters of at this point is the concept of rule of law, which is the idea that the law is supreme, nothing is above the law, not even the president, who's very powerful in our system, can overrule the law. The law is the highest thing in the land. All right, so those are the basic American principles. All students, if you ask them, should be able to describe just as I described them. And we've also done lesson 2B. In this in this lesson, we've learned about several documents. Students should be able to talk about the charters of the Virginia Company of London. This is what the lawyers for King James I used to set up the colony of Virginia. And there's an important loophole here. There's a legal point that the king said that all the Jamestown colonists and all their descendants, all the people that came after them, would have all the rights of Englishmen. And Thomas Jefferson later argues that the king went back on this promise when he started taxing them unfairly and treating them poorly with juries and things like that. And therefore, we had the right to rebel as a nation and split from the English. Students also should know about the Virginia Declaration of Rights, which is the document written by George Mason. It was basically a wish list for all the rights that he believed that we should have, including, this is pretty important, the right to freedom of press. Ooh, I spelled it like a British person. Of the press, and freedom of religion, lots of other things, like 3 branches of government, he argues, is a kind of a key concept here. Students should also know about the Declaration of Independence, read by my son, no, not actually my son, Thomas Jefferson, the original Thomas Jefferson. He wrote this document in order to do 2 things: complain about the King of England, his treatment, and also to separate us from England. The other things the SOLs really want students to know about are that this document says that all men were created equal, and it also argues that all people have unalienable rights, rights that we cannot take away from anyone, and those rights include life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Students should also know about the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, which is the document written also by Thomas Jefferson that was a state law in Virginia that said folks could believe in whatever religion they want to, and the government's not going to get involved there. And then this served as a model for the First Amendments of the United States. Also, want to go back to the Virginia Declaration of Rights written by George Mason. This was important because it led to it was inspirational for the Bill of Rights, part of the Constitution later. Lots of other documents take phrases from the Virginia Declaration of Rights. 2 other documents students should master and just be able to talk about straight from their mind at this point would be the Articles of Confederation, which of course are the documents that set up the first form of government right after we won the Revolutionary War. This was a horrible, horrible, epic fail. The basic idea was each state was a separate country. There was no president. There was no federal court system. There was no power to tax. It was anarchy, dogs and cats living together. It was just the worst possible situation, and therefore we scrapped it. And instead, the founders decided to write the U.S. Constitution, which is still the document that we have now. That's the supreme law of the land. That's where we've been, and in the next 2 lessons, we're going to learn about the preamble of the Constitution. That's the first paragraph that explains why they wrote the Constitution. We'll explore that quite a bit, and then we will talk about the amendment process. We'll talk about how to change the Constitution, how many changes we've had to the Constitution, what changes there's been. We'll learn about the Bill of Rights, which are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. Students should be looking for their homework to be due upcoming soon too, and also the assessment day is coming really soon. Assessment day is going to be the test day. We'll also do writing challenges, and they really should know their stuff about all these things we've talked about up until this, the day before the assessment day. And again, just a quick reminder, the assessment day will be on the 28th for Blue Day classes and the 29th for Gray Day classes. All right, thank you for watching this overview. If you have any questions, shoot me an email.